Welcome to Heritage Acres Homestead. I'm Chas. Here you'll find our family as we strive to live a life that pleases the Lord. We do our best to make the most out of what we've been given, so we'd like to invite you to come along and join us on our journey.
Hey y'all, I'm Chas and welcome back to Heritage Acres Homestead. So today you can see that I've got a project underway, and what it is I am working on some barbecue sauce for the canning pantry. Reason being is my husband will oftentimes ask, hey, do we have any barbecue sauce? And most of the time, like if I know we're gonna need barbecue sauce, or if I'm making a barbecued meat, I will make the barbecue sauce throughout the day and have it ready for supper. But sometimes we might have leftover this or that and he wants to put barbecue sauce on it. And I don't buy barbecue sauce very much ever anymore. Namely because every sauce out there is full of high fructose corn syrup, and they've gotten quite expensive, especially if you try to find one that isn't loaded with ingredients that we don't care for. So I'm making my own, and it's going to be made with peaches. This is a peach barbecue sauce. It's delicious and it's very easy to do, and I'm going to show you how to do it. And this way I can make enough to have on the shelf, and when he gets a hankering for barbecue sauce, I don't have to disappoint him by saying no, I don't have any, or no, I've not made any. I'll have some ready and available. But besides that, I thought today I would tell you of how you can make your own condiments. There are so many alternatives to store-bought condiments, and I know it's just so easy to grab them, but if you really take a minute and turn and see that label, you might be a little hesitant to keep putting it in your grocery cart. Any mayonnaise based, or aioli as they want to call it now to make it a little fancier. Aioli just means mayonnaise pretty much, but it is usually made with either vegetable oil or soybean oil. Two things that I do not want in my home. Then there's, the ketchup. Most every ketchup is made with high fructose corn syrup, as well as the barbecue sauces. And so I'm going to show you how to make the barbecue sauce. We're going to make mayonnaise together. Making your own condiments is a very good skill to have in your homesteading tool belt, because there are so many additives and undesirable ingredients in manufactured condiments. And I know they taste good, and we've talked about this before. It's a hard cycle to break, because there's so many like flavor enhancers that make you just, I want that kind. That's the kind I like to taste. That's what I want it to taste like. And there is a difference oftentimes between homemade and store-bought. But I'm telling you, just give it a little bit of a chance, and I'm sure you will, don't go cold turkey on everybody or they'll revolt. But a little bit at a time, you can pull back from some of those store-bought things and start incorporating what you've made, and it will make a great transition for your family. So anyways, my family is very, very used to me making things now and trying not to buy them. So I've trained them a little bit, but there are still some things that they really like that are store-bought. Now, I'm not going to kid you. There's some things I like that it's store-bought, but depending on what's in them, I may or may not, I may refuse to buy it. So what we're doing today is the sweetness of our barbecue sauce is going to come from these lovely peaches that I picked up this morning from our local farm stand. And what I'm doing is I'm just cutting them down to the core or to the seed. And of course, peaches have a pit, so there's a large pit in there. And then I go around that pit and I cut out any little fleshy bits that are still there, just because I'm trying to get every bit that I can. And then I toss that into my compost bucket for the chickens and for the compost pile. Then this is what I call a cheek. So see that kind of rounded rounded edge, that's a cheek. So I cut off the 4 sides or the 4 cheeks, and then I lay them down. I give them a slice, and it doesn't have to be exact, just rough. And then I spin it around, and I come back and I give them a chop. That way I've got somewhat smallish pieces, and I'm putting them straight into my measuring cup, so I can keep an idea of about how many it's going to take me to get to the 6 cups needed for 1 batch of sauce. Because I'm using my large pot here, I plan to do quite a few batches at once. It's just easier. It is for me. So the way you may notice a lot of times if I'm doing work that's going to take me a while, I'm sitting here at the table. And, I think tables were often more used in the older days than they are now. There's islands, or there's workstations in the kitchen. And for me, I love nothing better than to sit at my table and work, and the family will walk through, they'll take a seat and they'll talk to me a few minutes, or I'm sitting here working along. I have my windows I can look out of, see the sunlight, see the extremely hot days. This week is going to be, we've had a lovely week last week. It was nice and breezy. This week's going to be scorching again. But I can see the sunlight. I can see, I've got my fan on me so I can stay cool. And I just get to enjoy sitting in here and working at this task. I keep everything that I need kind of handy. Like I have my cutting board and my knife here. I have my box of peaches right here I can pull straight from. I have my pot here. So when I hit the 6 cup mark on my peaches, they'll go straight into there. And then I have my little compost bucket here by my side, that when I get enough of the waste, I can toss it in there. And it's just very streamlined for me, and it works. And I love that. And I've had friends that have stopped by in the past when I've been working, and they just come in and sit and we chat while I work. And it's just, I think it's just a nice place to be. I love sitting at my table. I wouldn't change my table for an island for anything, because I enjoy being able to sit down, because this is lengthy work. And then I get up, I walk around, I'll do some dishes, I'll, maybe go swap laundry. So I'm not sitting here just constantly, and walk, stretch my legs, and get the blood flowing again, so it's not just sedentary constantly. But so again, so many people wonder, why in heaven's name would you go to all the work to make these things rather than just go to the store and buy them? And if you've looked at ingredients on any of your condiments, and we're just talking about condiments today, you're going to notice that if it's something like barbecue sauce, the majority of them are going to have high fructose corn syrup in them for this, this little bit of sweet. Some of them are very sweet. If you're looking at things like mayonnaise, or anything like, if it says it's aioli, which is just a fancy word for mayonnaise, don't let them fool you. It's, chipotle aioli. It means it's mayonnaise with a little bit of spice in it. It's still mayonnaise, but mayonnaise is good. We enjoy mayonnaise, but you can make your own mayonnaise with a different oil, so you're not ingesting all those soybean oils and vegetable oils. You can make it with olive oil, which I don't love. It's a little bit too strong for my taste buds, but I do enjoy homemade mayonnaise with avocado oil, and I'll show you how to do that today too. And that's probably where we will hover today. We're going to make our barbecue sauce and can it together. Then I'll show you how to make some mayonnaise. All that to say is I want to make our homemade condiments with good ingredients, because I did some research before I started this video. In the early 1900s, before high fructose corn syrup came on the market, which is not necessarily sold, but it's put in everything. That's what I meant. And that was done in, I think, like 57. That's when it was developed and started being used. And average American, back in the 1900s, before high fructose corn syrup came on the market, they ate a few pounds of sugar a year. I read an article that said the average American, eats almost half a pound of sugar per day. I'm kind of not surprised, but at the same time surprised, like it grieves my spirit, because I know there was a time before I became aware of the detriment of all this that we bought Little Debbie's and let me scratch that. We bought sweetened snack cakes. We bought a lot of, we thought it was, beneficial, and it was a blessing if we had those things to bless others with those treats. And I think the problem is because we stopped using them as occasional things, and it became to the point where we were eating them for every meal and every snack in between. It wasn't an occasional thing. It wasn't just let's make a dessert on Sunday and have it after Sunday dinner. It was, let's have dessert so we can eat on it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and all the days in, all the nights from there on. And then it was, I need something to keep me going. I'm having a slump. I need a little sugar to keep me going. And then we are where we are now with obesity, diabetes, heart disease, all the things. And we know that all that in conjunction together has really taken a toll. We know that there's more to it, but I do believe that was a large part of it. That we know sugar feeds cancer cells, and it's just, I want my family not to ever not have sugar. I don't want them to never have sugar. I want to bless them with a dessert here and there, but I want to get our family to go back to where we're eating sugar so occasionally rather than for the norm. So it's on Sunday dinner, and there's a dessert, and they get to enjoy it, and they look forward to it on family dinner nights or family dinner days. And it's just that one time a week or every other week treat that is not expected after every meal or for every snack or for every moment of every waking day. And that's sadly where, I know we've come from. And that's a lot of the reason I, struggle with weight nowadays, because I will admit to you, I have been a sugarholic for the most of my life. I've eaten a lot of sugar, and I've now paid a price for it with inflammation and, achiness and extra weight. And it's something that I've been working on for a long time now to change the course of. So, all that to say, this is one of the reasons why making our own condiments and making our own foods at home is so beneficial, is because it can help us take back control. We can't change what we did in the past. That's gone. We can just pray God that He will just give us grace and help us to learn from that and to move forward and to enjoy and make new habits and go from there. So we're going to work on this barbecue sauce, and once I get enough for my pot to start cooking, I will show you how we're going to do it, and then how we'll can it up and have it ready for our shelves. So as I talked about before, I have my pot here, and I have my 4 cup and my 2 cup measuring cup ready with my peaches. And then I have a cup of red bell pepper. Now that one's empty, I'll cut up my onion, and I need a cup of onion chopped. So I'm gonna get on that. There's a cup of onions going in the pot. So I'm just gonna keep on doing this, and I will check back with you once we have our ingredients cut up and ready. So I'm sorry, I forgot to video when I was adding all the ingredients, but I'm just gonna go ahead and tell you what was in it. So I showed you that we did peaches, pepper, and onions, but we also added chopped garlic, and I'll give the amounts in the description, don't worry. Dry mustard, Worcestershire sauce, crushed red pepper flakes, cider vinegar, Redmond's real salt, and I don't have a jar here because I emptied it, honey. So all of that went in there with the peaches and onions and peppers and has been cooking down. And I believe it's cooked down and got softened enough that I can use the Immersion blender on it now. So for this part, I will mute the video so it's not so loud. It's fairly smooth right now, but I may go back in with the blender and do some more blending of it because I want it really, really nice and smooth. And I'm also going to taste it here in a minute and see how it tastes. And this is 3 batches that I've got in this pot. I'm gonna let it cook a little bit longer, probably another 10 or 15 minutes. Puree it again with the stick blender, and then we'll work on jarring it up. And the taste is really good. I'm tickled with it. I can't wait till Shannon tastes it. Alright, I've cooked the sauce down to the point where I think it's about right. Now, if you think this is going to be a very traditional barbecue sauce, it's not. But it really has a great flavor, and I think it's going to be delicious. There was something that kind of reminded me and my husband both about it. There at Costco, they have this marinade that's like pineapple and peppers and onions, and it's in a bit of a sweet syrup, and you put it over, you know, whatever. We usually use it on pork chops or chicken, and it reminds us of that. So definitely gives you some zesty, I guess is a good word, zesty taste. So right now I'm just going to take clean jars with a ladle and a funnel and fill them to the neck and get them ready to go in my steam canner. I've got lids. I haven't got my bands out yet. I'll have to get my bands out. I'll place lids on each of these. Now, if you watch some of my old videos, you'll see that I usually used to boil my jar lids before using them. Supposedly you don't have to do that anymore, so I don't do it. I mean, you know, why use another step if you don't have to? So that cuts out a step, and I just put them straight onto the jars now, and then tighten them fingertip tight, and put them on my canning rack. I'm using a steam canner for this one, because it is a high acid food, so I don't have to worry about using a pressure canner. Let me show you what I mean by fingertip tight. This is what I've always used to hang my jar. I've just lost my train of thought. Bands took a minute. It's just a coat hanger that I pulled apart and then wrapped together so it would hold the bands. But so put your lid on your jar, put your band on your jar, and just give it just till snug. Don't really go too hard or too far, just till snug. And do that on every jar until your canner is full. Now, lo and behold, I know someone will say, you didn't wipe the top of that jar off. And I didn't. If I know that there's nothing on it, I don't normally wipe it off. I do wipe it off if it's something super messy, or that if I'm being super messy and I get stuff all over the place. I didn't this time, so I didn't wipe it off. Gotta find another jar. If you've been following me for any time, you will know that I'm I really like jars, especially unusual ones. I love this little square Atlas jar. I love the shape. I think it's fun. And I use my old jars if they are still in good shape. I don't like to pressure can with them, but I will steam can or water bath can with them, because it's not, by doing that, it's not very hard on the jar
like it is a pressure canner. So they usually hold up just fine when you're doing water bathing or steam. All right, we've got a full canner. I'm gonna put the lid on it. Now remember, when you're steam canning, you're gonna go by this dial right here. And for your altitude will be the color that you need to wait until it hits that color to start your timer. So when mine gets into the dark green area, then I will start timing it for 15 minutes. So I'll just watch it until then. All right, y'all, it's getting late in the day. It's time to wrap this up. So I have let my canner go for 15 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and pull out my jars. And they look really nice. And my rule of thumb is I let them sit here on the counter for a good 24 hours. Hopefully that gives them plenty enough time to seal. And if they're not properly sealed, I will reprocess them. And now it's time to get these last 4 jars in the canner and do the process all over again. Now I gotta go clean up from supper.
Hey y'all, I've had so many questions this week as I've been sharing about some of my canning that I thought I would just add this to this week's video. My steam canner and how I use it. So it's a very simple device, but I'm just crazy about it because it's convenient for me. It doesn't have the weight associated with a big water bather, and I just really love it. So I'm going to show you a few things about it, how I use it, and here we go. So the steam canner has this shallow bottom part where the water goes. It also has a rack. So 2.5 quarts of water will be poured into the bottom. Now this is the directions for mine. I'm sure that there's others out there that may have, you know, more or less water, but this is what mine is. So I would place 2.5 quarts of water into the bottom of my canner. Now when I put it on the stove, I'm not going to turn it to the very highest temperature. Or I can turn it high and then turn it down a little lower. You just want that to be like a boiling or a simmering water to keep your guide. And there's a little guide up here on top. And I'll tell you exactly what it says. So mine says it has a zone 1, zone 2, and zone 3. If you're in zone 1, it's 0 to 3,000 feet. Zone 2 is 3,000 to 6,000, and zone 3 is 6,000 to 9,000. So depending on what zone you're in, that's what you would choose. We are in zone 1. So for us, it's a dark green section, and then zone 2 is a lighter green, and then the zone 3 is a very light green. And that's the guide. So meaning when I put my waters in, my jars are in, and you can only use a steam canner to replace anything you would water bath. Meaning salsa, jellies, jams, pickles, any high acid food. You do not want to do this is not for meats, this is not for soups or stews, this is not for things like that, okay? So this is only replacing what you would use a water bather for. So you add your water, add your jars, add your lid, turn on your heat. As you watch this, you will start seeing there's a tiny little hole over here. You'll probably start seeing a little bit of steam coming out of there. And it's not going to allow a lot of steam because it's enclosed. So it's going to build that steam. And when your guide on the top hits your altitude level, you get the green light, basically. That's what that means. And that's when you start your timer. And it's absolutely as simple as that. So if I was going to can my salsa for 15 minutes, then I would start my timer. Once I hit the green light, I would start my timer for 15 minutes. When you use a steam canner, the temperature inside comes up to boiling water level, which is around 212, I believe. And so that temperature is going to sterilize, it's going to steam, and it's going to seal your jars. And that's just it. I'm not having to lug a big, huge container that's filled with gallons and gallons of water, which I've done for years. I'm not having to do that anymore because of this little beauty right here. You know, I loved water bathing. I just, because it was so big, I could fit a lot in there, but this is so fast. So when you do a steam canner, like any of my canning, let me insert this. Like any of my canning, I give them a little time to sit in the canner after they're done processing to let the temperature come down a little bit, help to keep whatever it is that I'm canning from siphoning. Siphoning means when you lose your water or your liquid out of your jars, because, you know, it's okay if that happens, but you don't want to lose tons and tons of it. And sometimes extreme temperature changes can make that happen. So I just leave it in there for another 15, 30 minutes and then remove them. And with this and how fast it is, it doesn't seem to be an issue for me to be able to do that because it does heat up and cool down so much quicker than that big water bather. So I would take my top off. I would use my whatever those things are called, my jar lifter. I would remove my jars and I would check my water levels. And basically when you do 2.5 quarts, it comes right up to the tippy top of this, maybe just a smidge over it. And so you can look every single time you do a job. You can look, okay, I need to add a little bit more water and keep on moving along. Because of course some water does evaporate. Now with steam canning, there is a little bit of a guideline. If you are going to do anything that would be water bathed over 45 minutes, stick with a water bath, because the possibility of evaporating all your water can happen if it's more than 45 minutes. And you don't want to do that because then it would, then you would have no steam at all and you could crack a jar. So anything under 45 minutes, you should be plenty good to go. Just watch your temperature gauge on your oven. You'll learn the sweet spots on your stovetop because you don't want to do it so high that it evaporates quickly. You want to just keep it at a nice rolling boil, and so that it, that water will just keep circulating and will stay with you the majority of your time that you're going to be steam canning your fruits or vegetables. So I hope that is a big help to you. So many asked me this week because I've been doing a lot of canning this week. I did peaches, I did pickled peppers, I did the barbecue sauce I'm sharing with you today. And I was talking about it over on Instagram. I canned up some jars of elderberry sauce or elderberry juice. And so it's just such a handy item to have. And I'm not one of those that wants to have every gadget contrary to what it looks like. I don't really want every gadget out there, but I do enjoy things that make my life a little easier and a little quicker because we all are very busy people, I'm sure, and a little bit of help here and there is a blessing. And you know, I just take it as that. It's a blessing to help me get my jobs done faster. And if it does as well, or if not better, then it gets 2 big thumbs up from me. So there you go. I will link this in the description, like I said. But a steam canner, it is my go-to nowadays for anything that I would water bath in the past. Hey y'all, the last thing we're gonna talk about today on this week's video is making your own mayonnaise. It's so easy to do. It's very, very tasty. If you've looked at mayonnaise in a store, or if you bought it on a regular basis, you probably are aware that the majority of them are made with a soybean or canola oil. And of course, that's not something that I really want in our home. So what I do is I try to make our own, or sometimes I also buy an avocado-based or avocado oil-based mayonnaise. But I'll tell you, those are at least double or triple the price, which is kind of hard to deal with. But when you really are dead set against not bringing those vegetable oils or soybean oils in your home, you do what you got to do. But let me show you how you can easily and inexpensively make your own mayonnaise. There's lots of different kinds of mayonnaises out there, and I've tried some that are like olive oil based. I don't like it. I do like a soybean oil based mayonnaise. That's the taste that I'm familiar with. That's the taste that I enjoy. But I won't buy it anymore. So I'm either making my own, or I'm buying the chosen brand, which is all avocado oil. Do not be fooled, because there are lots and lots of mayonnaises out there that say avocado oil, but if you turn them around and look on them, it's not only avocado oil, but it's usually spliced with canola oil, soybean oil, safflower oil, something like that. So just be very aware and check your ingredients. So let's make some mayonnaise today, and I'll show you just how easy it is. And you can use it in any, if you like olive oil, go right ahead, make yours with olive oil. If you like avocado oil, which is much more mild, which is what I'm going to use that. But if you want something special, make some with bacon grease. Wow. It will take your BLTs to the next level. So let's get busy and make this together. All right, y'all, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to crack an egg and drop it into a little pint-sized wide mouth mason jar. To that, we're going to add a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon, and y'all know good and well I wouldn't be measuring this for you if I wasn't doing this video. I'd be eyeballing it. A teaspoon of white wine vinegar, a teaspoon of lemon juice, and you can use fresh, but I don't have any fresh on hand. And then you're going to use your oil. Like I said, I'm going to use this avocado oil that I got at Costco. Hang on, it's not open. I used up the last of it, the other one already. All right, and you need about a cup of that. So I'm going to go ahead and
Now the key to it is you want to put your immersion blender down into your jar, okay? And then slowly begin blending. Now I'm going to lift it up just a little. Make sure all that oil is going to get incorporated. Go back down. And you, of course, I would do this faster had I not be showing y'all, but I'm trying to talk too. Now, look what you've done. You have made your own beautiful mayonnaise. Make you a sandwich, add that into some pasta salad, whatever you like to use mayonnaise for. And a cup makes about a cup, just a little over. And that is as simple as it is. There's no reason why we have to eat that garbage from the store when it's easy as this to make our own, and it tastes good too. So guys, I really appreciate you being here. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you'll give this a try and just let me know what you think. I hope it helps to explain a little bit about how and why I would use a steam canner, and just how simple it is to use that, as well as how easy it is to make your own mayonnaise and Zesty Peach BBQ sauce. So just come back again. I really appreciate your views and your comments and your likes and your shares. It just really helps me and my family, and I just wish you the best. God bless you, and come back again soon.